Our consciousness is aware of a great many things, but what is it really? I mean, what do we define as consciousness? Well, let's look at the definition from the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary. It states the quality or state of being aware, especially of something within oneself. According to the Oxford Online Dictionary, it's the state of being aware of and responsive to one's surroundings. And according to the American Psychological Association Online Dictionary at dictionary.apa.org, it's an organism's awareness of something either internal or external to itself. So, as you can see, it has something to do with, our everyday scenario, in the sense that, what we see is what we get. What I mean by that is, if you see a situation occurring, right before your very eyes, and you witness the consequences of people's actions or the outcome of the situation, good or bad, your brain registers that information and you take it with you as you file it away in your memory. But what occurs when you don't witness something? I mean, something you can't see that's going on around you. What does that do to your consciousness? Do you store it away somewhere secret in your mind that you may have access to that later on in life? Or do you just lock it away somewhere and never have access to it? Well, let's discuss what I mean by things that you don't see and may not feel. But before I do, I want to thank you for coming on to our channel, Metaphysical Awakening. We're here basically, to open your mind to the possibility of something more. Something you may not have access to just yet, but if you allow yourself to think in a way that's beyond your current understanding, you may reach a place that you've never been to before. You may find that life is more exciting than you think, and that the beauty around us is more connected to us as human beings than you've imagined. Without that understanding, we walk around in life with emptiness, in such that we don't have a clear understanding of why we inhabit this planet Earth, or why we feel better after taking a nice dip in the ocean, or walking through a forest, or why we concentrate on things that matter, in such that we spend time with the ones that we truly love, and not with the ones that we feel are bad for us. We value relationships, but why? Why are these things important to us? Well, something in us triggers us to feel that way, but what is it? These questions and more are aspects of our life that we explore here. And as we move further into life, we flow in and out of phases. And during certain phases, we are expected to observe our life more closely in order to accept what was lost and what was gained, what hurt us and what made us happy, what we did and what we did not do, what we gained from our understanding and what we didn't gain. These and more are observed through self-reflection at different moments in our life. And as we accept what was, then we can move ahead with more acceptance as to what will come. Because, we took the time to accept what will be, based on past decisions that we had made. So what of it in regards to our consciousness? Could we become a better person the more we're aware of life around us? Will it take more reading, a lot of books of substance, or will it take traveling to many parts of the world? Or will it simply mean, talking to all kinds of people from all over the world? Well, perhaps each case can help us in that regard, but for those who don't have the opportunity, or simply don't want to, what can they do? Well, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on this topic or any other topic that I discuss on this channel, but I, for one, can attest to what traveling has done for me, and what having conversations with all kinds of people have done for me, and what listening to different individuals, teachings, this and that have done for me. It's opened up my mind to something more, to areas I haven't explored yet. So there is an importance to each of these activities. But there are those who keep to themselves, who don't want to communicate with others, who would rather stay home, perhaps watch TV. They prefer not to be around others. Therefore, the limited contact with others don't put them in awkward situations or fun situations, frustrating situations or crazy situations, sweet or kind situations or ingenious situations. You see, their life is somewhat limited, therefore a limited amount of awareness of their surroundings. Our awareness comes from what we see, what we do, what we feel, what we gather from those situations, and so on. So if we live on an island alone, our awareness of life is based on our day-to-day life on that lonely island. You may be more aware about surviving than a typical person from a city, in the sense that you know what you can eat, discovered ways to hunt, and so on, based on your experiences. But you may not know who to trust, who to speak to when you need something, which a person living in society would know better. Now, what can reading a book do for us, such as reading a science fiction novel? Well, it does help us explore in depth of what it would be like to live in, to be out in space, to fly in space in a ship, for example. Flying out in space can be quite complicated, whether the technology is advanced or not. Breathing isn't allowed unless you're wearing a space suit or with a space helmet. So you'd have to rely on your space suit for the oxygen it contains in a tank that allows you to float out in space outside your ship. You can't just float away in space and not worry that you may not be able to return to your ship. No, you'd probably have to attach yourself to the ship so that you don't float away. These things and more come up as you read a science fiction novel, about traveling in space or to other planets, and allows us to think about it. Simply think about it. Because at other times in our life, as we put down the book, we go about our normal routine, not thinking about, traveling in space. So our thoughts surrounding the concept of traveling in space opens up when we read about it. It makes us think about the hardships of traveling in space. It makes us think about how risky it is. It makes us think about how it's not simple as it looks in movies or TV series. Usually writers of science fiction novels had done thorough research on such matters. So when we read it, it makes it all more believable for the most part. It has a conscious effect on us, in the sense that it makes us think about the extraordinary. It gives us hope to the possibility of that outcome. A new future, that involves space travel as a new way of life. But, what of it? Well, it makes us more aware in a way. Academically, no. Well, maybe, depending on the novel, of course. But it opens up our mind regardless of whether it's true or not. It opens us to think differently in a way that's different from before. Before, you looked at life one way. Now you look at it with a possibility of space travel, for instance. So that's what reading novels can do for us. Perhaps a book can give you a better appreciation for life based on a story of hardship, or perhaps a novel may give you a darker view of the world based on, the possibility of war, based on men's greed. Who knows? Whatever we read gives us an additional thought to think about, which therefore expands our awareness. Same goes for, the people you meet on a daily basis, giving you stories of their life or how their day went and so forth. Same goes for the videos we watch, tweets we read, posts we look at, and so on. Same goes for the intentions made by others who would want to implement a course of action that may affect us. Same goes for the weather, the weather conditions that we experience in our area. Perhaps our city or town is experiencing crazy weather conditions, which then makes us think about, the next decade or or so, for instance. Which way is it going to go, good or bad? Is life going to be harder because of it, or the same? And so on. Our mind widens as we think of these things based on our surroundings. So it shows our consciousness is based on what we see, feel and experience in our day-to-day life. It's information we receive from books, novels, science, maths, and so on. It's what we talk about with, what our family, our friends, coworkers, strangers, and so on a daily basis. It's what we see and hear from TV, social media, and so on. It's a compilation of all the information, images we capture from the scenes of our life. It's all things really. What we touch, we can gather information about the object. You see, information is all around us, and we gather that information and compute it in a way to get our understanding of the world around us and its people. What we do with that information is up to us. How we put it all together is up to us. But wouldn't it be interesting if we received more input? And what I mean by that is, what if there's more going on behind the scenes, so to speak, in our day-to-day life? What if we're not alone, in the sense that there are more sentient beings involved in our life that we're not aware of? Well, that would open us up to a world of possibilities. I mean, if that were the case, wouldn't that mean that, number one, we're not alone, and number two, our existence is important? I mean, if there are people being watched, guided, and saved in some cases, that quite possibly mean we're important, right? Well, some of us feel alone, utterly alone, and for that very reason, they feel not one person looks out for them. But what if there are people looking out for them and they just don't know it? What if these people are members of their family who had gone back to the other side? What if they come around you to cheer you up at times by, playing back a memory in your head, or getting you to do something by inserting that idea in your mind as you're fixated on something that worries you or concerns you? What if they play a song in your head to put you in a cheerful mood? What if, just what if? Do you see the possibilities? Do you see how this can open your mind to many possibilities? You see how this can perhaps get you to question your life at times, your existence. You see, many things happen in life which seems inexplainable, yet they happen. Whether it's, it was a one-off experience or not, it begs to question, what was it? Is someone really looking out for me? Is it just a coincidence, or was something more involved? Yet we walk away from it as if it were just a coincidence and move on. But you can never seem to forget what had happened, and it becomes a topic of conversation once in a while with friends and family. But what can we do with it? I mean, how can we see what happened or what it was entirely? How can we see what we cannot see? Well, that's up to us really, whether we want to pursue it or not, whether we want to fully understand it. But what if there was more to what's going on than what the eyes can see and the ears can hear? Well, that's when we get into the metaphysical aspect of ourselves. And what I mean by that is, we are spiritual beings. We have energy, we give off energy, therefore a metaphysical aspect of us. It's what's beyond the physical aspect of us. And with that, we can do a great many things, such as energy healing, seeking the truth by feeling into the matter with our own heart, and so on. What we do on a daily basis with our intuition is a metaphysical aspect of us. So it's not so rarely used as we think. No, it's used quite often. if you had a good or bad, feeling about something or someone, that's your heart speaking to you and your intuition at work. Your heart holds a lot of information, and it feels things out. It's like it reaches out like a tentacle from an octopus to retrieve information about a person, place, or situation, and take that information back to you so that you register it as a good or bad feeling, along with your intuition firing up to give you the impulse to do something or to decide on something. We're more than we think we are, and using these abilities that comes natural to us more and more as we practice allows our mind to grow exponentially. We just, registered what's beyond what books can tell, what films can show, and what, parents, grandparents, and so on, other descendants can tell us. Once we experienced it, it's our own. It's what we perceive of the world around us based on our own metaphysical experiences. Nothing can take that away from us because it's rightfully ours, and it's part of our human evolution. It's part of human development and expansion of the mind and heart. It's part of who we are, and it's always been there since the beginning of time because we are spiritual beings. So our communication with other spiritual sentient beings is only natural. We only cut ourselves off from that if we choose to do so. But imagine your view of the world, the life around us, if we were able to see, the day-to-day scenery of our own existence with spirit beings around us, around you and I. What would it be like? Think about that. Every person you see has someone sticking around them, or individuals, being constantly protected, or some being bothered or messed with for whatever reasons. Unfortunately, we're all affected one way or another by spirit beings. They're all around us, and they like what we do, or may reprimand us when we hurt others by our own words or actions, and therefore guilt settles in as words such as you shouldn't do that to the ones you love, or you shouldn't be like this, that that person always helps you, or behave yourself, or asks questions like why be like this isn't you. So there's a whole lot of conversation going on, just not the way you think. You see, many of us are affected one way or another, and it would be interesting to see how our society can thrive from just recognizing that we're more than who we are, and we're not alone. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have, make sure to click the like button. We appreciate your support and your kind words. We've received wonderful emails, so thank you so much. We hope that you enjoy some time contemplating on your existence in this life and on this planet. You're a valuable being, and you should recognize that no matter what anyone says, you're never alone. So thank you so much for stopping by, everyone, and have a beautiful, peaceful day. Bye.